All right, so I got Connor from Vis Mystica, and I've got some questions for him.
Yo, yo.
So, how does marketing and being in a band go hand in hand?
So, when you first get into a band, the ideal thing that you want to do is get out on the road, make music, play shows, make money, drink beer. I don't know, get with lots of hot chicks. Apart from drinking beer, that's just not something that happens. But the cold hard truth of all of that is that what you want is to be able to be self-sufficient without having to rely on a marketing team or a label necessarily until you've really hit a point where you're massively, you know, you have so much business that you can't control it all on your own. Um, so what you'll want to do is have the confidence in yourself to be able to go up to brands and, use common sense. If you've got 400 likes on your Facebook page and you've released a single that has 50 listens on Spotify, obviously Seymour Duncan isn't going to want to get a hold of you and be like, "Oh, yeah, represent us, man." But
Yep.
if you're in a position where your band has a couple thousand likes, you're doing 40, 50 shows a year, you have a record or two out, you have things you can send in an electronic press kit, get a hold of it, man. What's the worst thing they can say? No.
No.
I've gotten that a few times. But I mean, the thing is, you have to have the confidence in yourself without coming across as arrogant to just be able to tell these brands that you have a service that you can offer them and make it, a good coexistence, have a good, codependency on one another. They can supply you with the products, you can display those products, and at the same time that helps you further your own career, that helps you play more shows, that helps you get more exposure, that helps you get money to get the record going, that helps you make more merch sales, etc., etc., etc. The best thing you can do is just ask questions after you've hit a point where you realize that you think you can take this to the next level, if that's what you want to be doing.
Right. So, I see that you're an ENGL amps guy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got?
They are currently, well, they were before the coronavirus outbreak. They were building me an E530 tube preamp, so I was going to run that through my Rocktron Velocity 100 in a live scenario and have my head rush going through the effects loop of that as kind of my outboard effects. But unfortunately, that's kind of come to a halt at the moment because of what's going on in the world.
Yep.
When that's all done and dusted, they're going to get a hold of me and ship that to me from Germany. Super cool guys, very fun to work with. I became friends with their marketing director at NAMM because he's also a solo guitars artist. And I met him in a
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, Chris Schmidt is his name, and we talked for an hour and change, and he said to me, we're looking for young American artists because the few American artists that we have are all aging and they don't have the marketability that they used to have. And I said, well, dude, I'm playing 60, 70 shows a year.
Yeah.
You make my favorite amps. So
Yeah.
let's see if
They're like, we can't find anybody to pay this top dollar for these amps.
no,
But
and the thing is too, their amps are worth the money. Like, I mean,
it is. Yeah.
absolutely. If ENGL, what did you say you had yeah,
100 watt.
100 watt Fireball, right?
Yep. Yep.
A killer amp, unreal. I played the new Savage 120 at NAMM, and it's arguably the best amp I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like it's got the bass, but like it doesn't lose the high end
They
or
are tight.
mids.
That's the best way I can describe an ENGL amp. Is they are tight.
Yeah. Plus they got the built-in noise gates.
Yeah, they're outstanding amps. I think, in my opinion, I mean, that was like when I got that email from them that I had been accepted as an artist. That was like a dream come true. I was like, what?
What?
I mean, yeah, I was dumbstruck when they sent me that message. I mean, like, I've wanted one of these amps since I was, a teenager, and of every single one of my favorite artists plays an ENGL. Almost every single one.
Which one? Give me a few.
Luca Turilli uses a Powerball. The Powerball is the one I always heard the most about. Most of my favorite artists use that. I have a couple of guys I know that use the Savage. The Fireball I think is more in the death metal crowd as is the Savage. The Powerball is ironically more for power metal, And
Oh, really?
I've
I
always,
didn't know that.
yeah, which is I don't know. I don't know if that's like truth or not, but I mean, I think that it just seems like a lot of power metal artists use it. Um, the ones that still do use tube amps. Ideally, I'd like to get a tube amp, but I don't want to haul a 120-watt amp around when I go on a
Oh,
3 week long
my
trip.
shoulder's hurting already.
Yeah, exactly. Those things ain't light. I carried a DSL 100 around on 2 tours, and I'd rather not do it again.
Yeah. I have an XFX Ultra, but
Mhm.
like you can't you can't compare the two.
No,
Like they're not
no, no
not even
way,
close.
no way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my head rush to death, and I think it's in my. I'm obviously biased when I say it, when I say that it's the best multi effects unit on the market. But I mean, like, you know, if somebody was gonna give me an ENGL Powerball model on that, or offer me, the $2,000 amp, I mean, duh. Which one's gonna sound better? But
Yeah.
that's my take on the matter. I mean, as my partnership with them grows, I'm gonna definitely be getting some of the big brands,
Upgrades.
at least for studio work and whatnot. As time
Yeah.
goes on. Because I mean, I being that I'm going to be going to NAM every year, I'm expecting to build up. Going back to the marketability question, build up with other companies apart from just Angle, even as time goes on.
Yeah.
Every day I'm scoping out new companies to possibly work with.
Well, I think the coolest thing about sponsorships with amps is like, so for an example, like when I got my Fireball,
Hmm.
I had an opportunity to play with that at Doug White's studio in Lockport,
Hmm.
and that was the only amp I could ever play.
Oh,
And with a sponsorship, like for an example, Orange, like I watched a vlog, and they shipped out like I don't know 6 amps to one of Jared Dine's buddies,
oh yeah.
and I don't know his name, but yeah, he had like 6 amps. It's like I'm gonna like buy 3 of them, but I'm gonna send the other 3 back. I'm like, how cool would that be?
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's the thing. The one thing, and I know I keep going back to the marketing thing. The one thing to do, Engel have been really cool about this because I mean, obviously, I don't want to play any other amps anyway. What I think is dangerous
Exactly.
is when you get into the guitar land of sponsorships. Now, Solar very open with their stuff. With me, Ola England, nicest guy you could ever hope to meet. Love him to death. I spent quite a bit of time with him at NAM, and I mean, and he was very friendly, very open. He knew who I was, which really surprised me. And you know, it's and he's very open about that. I could play whatever I wanted, and I'd still be a solo artist, and he wouldn't care. However, there's one I've heard a horror story about, and it's crazy. It's Kiesel, of all things.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's the thing, dude. Like, so Kiesel, Agile,
Mhm.
Strandberg, like I want all those guitars, but I don't have an opportunity to play them because
No, that's the thing.
I don't go to NAM. I
Sure.
don't, and they obviously don't sell them anywhere.
No, not really. Strandbergs are wonderful. I really do like them. I've played Devons a number of times, and I've really enjoyed it. Agile, yeah, the same way. They're pretty open. The thing with Kiesel is though they make great guitars, but they are horrendous to be sponsored by unless you are so beyond sold on their instruments that you'll never do anything else the rest of your life. So,
Huh?
I have a
Why is
story.
that? Why do you think it's that?
I have a story about that because I've heard it
Oh,
firsthand from numerous people. My friend Andy Gillian, who's in the band Mors Principium Est, he was he received an email from Jeff Kiesel 2 or 3 years ago saying that they were going to build him a guitar, and he was already endorsed by EMG at the time. He still is, but they said, "Yeah, we don't want you to use that. We want you to just use our pickup. They're just as good." So not only do they every single time you post an older video of yours where you're not playing a Kiesel, you have to add a disclaimer that that you only play Kiesel guitars now. Not only that, but you can't use your own pickups. You have to use theirs. They don't even let you swap out the pickups in your guitar because they're so
uh,
insecure about their own builds.
well, I mean, like EMGs, you can't beat them. I
No.
mean, yeah, you can obviously beat them,
Well,
but like,
for
I
what
don't
they
know.
can do, I mean, obviously, I'm contractually obligated to disagree as a Seymour Duncan artist, But
Yeah.
no, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, EMG makes great stuff. I had 5766s for a long time in one of my guitars, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um,
It just depends on what you're playing, to be honest with you.
no,
I've had Seymours
yeah.
too.
I mean, the thing is, dude, like with the Kiesel thing, that turned me off that company forever. I'll
Yeah.
never buy something from them. Never. I mean, like, if you try and treat your artists like that,
Yeah, like a date that a
yeah,
date that you won't
I
let
know.
go.
Something crazy too. Jason Richardson, I'm sure you know him.
Yeah, I
But I
got his
mean,
plugins.
oh yeah, his JST stuff. Oh, dude, yeah, he's crazy. But I mean, like, the thing is, Jeff Kiesel sent him a guitar once, and he said, "This is a really nice guitar. I really like it, but I want to stick with my music, man." Jeff forced him to send the
Ah,
guitar back. Or he tried to, didn't just let him keep it, and then he began bad mouthing Jason Richardson on social media, saying that he stole a guitar from him.
oh God.
It's
Yeah, I've actually never played a Kiesel in my whole life.
they're okay. I mean, they're all right. That's the best thing I can say about them. If I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, dude, I think Solars are 10 times the instrument for half the price.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
gotta check them out.
oh, they're nothing touches them in their price range. I mean, I
I've got
doubt
I've
you'll.
got an EVH Wolfgang. Like, how does it
Those are good too.
compare?
I like them a lot. I mean,
How does it compare to
so
yours?
it's like an EVH. So Wolfgang, those have the neck on a Solar is wider, top to bottom. The
Right.
thickness of the neck is about the same, maybe just a hair thinner, maybe just a hair. But so EVHs, the Wolfgangs, they remind me a lot of like kind of like the John Petrucci necks
Yeah,
on
for
some of the
sure.
Music Mans, because it's sort of like they're they're a thinner neck, but
Yes, for sure.
see, I prefer a wider neck with a thin thickness,
Right.
like the radius of like 14 inches or so, because when I'm doing sweep arpeggios, my hands spread out a lot, so I want that wideness. And
Right. Yeah, jumbo frets, man.
yeah, it's super jumbos, if possible. But I mean, like, I want that because I don't like my hands getting kind of cramped together when I'm doing the more technical stuff. It's a lot tougher to
For
pull that
sure.
off, But I would say a Solar, yeah. I mean, definitely check one out. They're very reasonably priced. I mean, if you get a B stock one, probably get them for 5 ish. And
Really?
oh yeah, dude, they're super cheap. Like my most expensive Solar, that blue one you see in all my videos, that
Yeah.
thing cost me $9.99, and that was my most expensive Solar, and it was in a limited edition group of 100.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
What? Here's my question to you. Where would I be able to try one out though?
that's a good question. That's the one thing is that you can't really in the States because they don't sell them anywhere. The thing
Yeah,
is with those, I mean, they're like return policy. If like by some crazy coincidence you didn't like it, they're super cool about it. But I mean, like they, what I would say is they're about as close to a sure thing as you can get, especially if you're a metal guy.
yeah,
I mean, there's just I was an Ibanez guy for years and years and years. I had my Prestiges and my Iron Labels and my Premiums, whatever, and I dumped all of them when I got with Solar. I was just like,
yeah.
it's good,
Shipped them out.
can't play them anymore. And like,
I used to have so many guitars
yeah,
when I was in like middle school and high school, like really crappy ones. Like
oh yeah,
I don't know what it was. Like I would have a lot of guitars and I'd be like, "Yeah, man, I got 5 guitars, man." But they all sucked.
oh yeah,
Like
no,
they were all like Jacksons that you could probably find for like $100 on
oh yeah,
Facebook Marketplace.
the classic JS22s. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but no man, I mean like there was a time where I had like 10 guitars. I mean I have like 8 now. I have 4
Yeah.
Solars, and I've got a classical, and I've got a Jackson 7 string. I got an Ibanez I souped up for dreadneck stuff. And I mean, like, I don't know, man. I sold off most of my stuff that I just don't use. But
Yeah, I think I topped out at like 6 or 7 and now I have like 3.
see, I like to justify being in debt from buying guitars and stuff because I'm like, well, it's my job. I can have as many as I want. But
Yeah.
and then I look at my monthly payments. I'm like, oh God, why did I do that?
Yep. Yep. That's what I did with my I I kind of got like a studio desk and like a,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I finance a lot of studio crap, like
Oh,
studio
same, dude.
monitors,
Same, man. Same here.
interface, stuff like that.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
I'm in the same boat.
oh no, dude. Thankfully at Guitar Center I get studio desks for pretty cheap. But it's a nice caveat of teaching there. But yeah, overall though, geez, I went on a solid red herring with you. I think the moral of my story here is please don't try and become a Kiesel artist. But
Ah. So, do you collect vinyl and or CDs?
I I have a ridiculous power metal CD collection, but now that I'm a normie and I have a modern car that doesn't have a CD player in it anymore, most of my listening is done via Spotify. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, well, yeah, that's a whole conversation in itself.
Yep.
I mean,
That's a good question, you know?
so hey, why not? I'll answer that. So this is the thing, man. I hear a lot of people belly aching a lot of the time. Well, oh, I make so much more money from selling a CD than I do from people streaming it on Spotify. You know what? The fact of the matter is, you can complain about that all you want. This is the state of the industry now. You need to find
Yeah.
a way to adapt. And the
Right.
way to adapt
Shirts,
is by,
merchandise.
yes, that's one part of it. However, as an independent artist, that's where you're going to get it from. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a very good one. I mean, merchandise is a great one, and merchandise is cool. Who doesn't want to own a band shirt, man? You know,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, it's owning a CD and a shirt are very similar things, honestly. And honestly, the profit margin from you buying a shirt from that band is probably going to make them, if they're independent and their label isn't taking a cut of the merch sales, that's going to make them arguably as much money as that CD would have.
And it's free promotion, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely, dude. You know, I don't know. I think that's the way it is a lot of the time. Live music, not so much these days. Because I mean, unless you're a really big band. Because I mean, if you have a guarantee of like, let's say, you're a good touring act, and your guarantee is about $500 for a month long tour. That sounds like a ton of money every single night, right? For playing an
Yeah.
hour long set or whatever. Now, if you aren't supported by anybody who is getting you a rider or paying for your gas or paying for your lodgings, you might come back from that tour with $100 a pop because you're splitting that between 4 or 5
Yeah.
people at least.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah.
And then you gotta factor in, food on the way,
Yeah,
gas,
exactly. All that's
uh, the,
all that
the
stuff.
the merch that you guys put money in before the tour and you didn't sell,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, exactly, man. And this is the thing. That's why I don't mind being in the teaching industry of the music industry because I mean, you know what? I get to do what I am passionate about doing and make money from it. And
yeah,
it's obviously not impossible to make money in the music industry. The thing is that all these people are like, well, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be the next Metallica or whatever. It doesn't work that way anymore, man. Apart from what, a handful of bands total, metal bands, it's just you don't make that kind of money these days from that, and that's okay. I don't mind making a modest living doing something I love doing. That's all
yeah,
right. I
for
don't
sure.
I don't care about being a multi-millionaire from this stuff, man. If I get 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, I would think that was the craziest thing ever. I would go nuts in the best possible way because I mean, that's 10,000 people listening to your music, man.
Yeah,
Maybe you make $100 from those streams in like a month or something, but
yeah, literally like $50,
yeah,
$100.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, like the thing is, though, I think the important thing is that if you're getting your message out there and people are enjoying it, ideally without the materialistic aspect of it with the money and whatnot, that really is what's important. I'm not gonna try and sit here and say like, oh, I don't care about money or whatever. Because I mean, yes, ideally, I would love to be a millionaire from the music industry. That'd be great.
But it
But
doesn't happen that
no,
way.
and it doesn't work that way anymore.
The hard truth.
Yeah, and that's okay. I don't mind. But like, you know, you can either complain about the way streaming services are not giving you as much money as you want, or oh, I'm. It's not. It would have been better if I would have started my band in the '80s or whatever. Or you can find a way to adapt, man. Like,
Yeah, you find a way.
yes.
Dude, I think the biggest thing that when I started my band, um, that I benefited and we benefited from was like I got really good at Photoshop and
Hmm.
video editing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I would have never done that stuff if it wasn't for the fact that like when I reached out to people, they were like, "Yeah, $200,
Yeah. Exactly.
$100."
No, and
Like
like that's one avenue I still need to get a lot better with is
so,
photoshopping and whatnot. But I mean, that's the next step for me. Now, thankfully, I have a lot of talented friends who are very, very supportive and don't charge me too much. And like,
Dunlop?
Dun, Dunlop,
Yeah.
like the picks.
No, Dunlop from he used to be in
Oh,
Crimson.
Trevor Dunlap.
Yeah, Trevor.
Yeah. Trevor, I haven't done anything through him. I've been really impressed with his lyric videos, though. I know him.
Yeah,
Um,
because he does stuff in Erie, Pennsylvania, like lyric videos and stuff.
yeah, he does a really good job of it too. So I'm actually an hour south of Erie, is where I live.
Nice.
I live literally out in the middle of nowhere. But a lot of my work is done. Like my art guy is a guy named Zach Kubiak from up there who did a really really good job with with the artwork for my single in my album. He did
Yeah.
all that, and I've been really happy with that. And my friend Chad Anderson from Helion Prime did all the mixing on that. He's out in Utah, and
Utah.
Utah,
You
but
got you got you got a California drummer. You
yeah.
got a dude mixing in Utah.
Hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like I just I don't know. I find weird friends from all over the place. My drummer is actually in a band called Once Human, who were formed by the original guitarist of Machine Head.
Oh, word.
Yeah, Logan Mater.
They
Um,
used to be my jam.
yeah, dude. When I was in Bravura, we opened for them in 2017, and Dylan and I became really good friends, and we just kept in touch for the next couple of years, and then we met up again at NAMM, and he said, I want to drum on this, and I was like, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So how did you actually? So you met the guy at Nam? Like,
I knew him before then, but
okay.
he and I had kept in touch for a long time, and he likes my playing, and I knew that he was a crazily good drummer, and then he just offered to drum on the album, so I sent in the stems for the original mix of Plains of Silence, and he came back with the drums. I was like, oh my god, I knew this guy was
Yeah.
good. I didn't know he was that good.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
oh, he's a beast. I mean, you heard it, but I
Well,
mean,
when you told me it was done on a electronic drum kit, um, I was like, what?
oh yeah,
How?
dude, yeah,
How?
that's yeah.
Like it sounds like a legitimate acoustic kit.
Yeah, dude. He has he's crazy. He has some really
S-
high end stuff. He's a talented guy.
So my last question to you would be,
Mm-hmm.
as a listener, what makes you hooked to a band?
That is a great question. There, oh, man, that's a tough one. When I got hooked on my original big power metal bands, and this is so cringy and such a basic answer, but a great chorus, man. Like
Yep.
heard when I heard the song "Dawn of Victory" by Rhapsody, that was what stuck for a while. And I mean, there's that. That's what hooks me with them. And then now in the more modern days, in addition to that, and again, very typical answer from a guitarist is that when I hear a really good like neoclassical solo or whatever, I have a buddy named Christian Munzner who has a band called Eternity's End. He was in Necrophagist for
Oh, dude.
yeah, he not Muhammad, but the other guitarist on Epitaph is Christian. But
Yes.
he's a wonderful neoclassical player, really cool guy, unbelievable player. I got really into his stuff because he uh, he plays a lot of the same kind of music that I like to play and listen to, and
That's super weird.
yeah, and I eventually I got a hold of him. I was like, dude, this is really good, and we became buddies via social media. And I learned that he was a very passionate power metal guy, and he loved bands like Rhapsody and all the neoclassical sweep picking, all the stuff that you see me do.